Attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everyone. Scott Earhart here with Insurance Agency Marketing Services. Do want to thank you all very, very much for taking the time to join us today. We have a great topic on a very, very unique product in the industry right now, unique product line in the industry right now that we've seen quite a bit of premium flow to in Athene's Performance Elite series. So really excited to show this to you. And in order to get you all the details on it and the inner workings, we have Mr. Mac Campbell from Athene with us this morning. Mac, can you hear us?
Morning, Scott. I can hear you. Thanks for having me.
Hey, thank you for your time. Before I hand it over to Mac, we're going to go through a couple introductory slides and just a few housekeeping items for the presentation. First housekeeping item today is our phone number. That is on the top left-hand side of your screen. That number is 800-255-5055. If there is anything we can be doing here at Insurance Agency Marketing to help you in growing your business, please do not hesitate to give a call. We'd absolutely love the opportunity to be working with you. Second housekeeping item is throughout the presentation today, I will launch a couple of polling questions. They are all yes or no questions, so if you would take the time just to click yes or no, we certainly appreciate everyone's participation in those. And the final housekeeping item are questions. You're going to see a lot of information here today about some really good product and some neat programs that we offer here at Iams. So I'm sure there will be some questions. Mac does a great job of making sure we get those answered, and the culture at Athene is a very transparent culture. So please don't hesitate to type in any questions you have into the questions box. At the end of the presentation, we will answer as many of those as possible. That being said, we're going to get into some introductory slides here and then hand it over to Mac. First slide is about our Life and Annuity Academy, and this will I will launch our first poll of the day as we talk about this. We host 3 to 4 Life and Annuity Academies per year. We are done for 2016. However, we will be releasing dates for 2017 here in the near future, I hope. And what we do at our Life and Annuity Academies, or we'll bring you in normally on a Wednesday and fly you home on a Friday. So you'll spend a grand total of about 2.5 days with us. We do bring in internal staff from Iams, so myself, Mark Raymakers, our life director, Matt Neal, our creative director, will all be there to present to you on what our departments do and how we help independent producers with different concepts and marketing ideas. Of course, how we can help with case design and placement of products or placement of business. Matt Neal, our creative director, will be there to show you everything that Iams Creative can do and how he helps producers. He and his team help producers. We do also bring in our ownership and executive team in Steve Murray and Charles Hiring. One thing I think you'll find very unique about your experience here at Insurance Agency Marketing Services is you will have access to the decision makers here. Steve and Charles are actively involved in our business, and they want to be actively involved in your business. They want to get to know you. They want to make sure that we are tailoring your experience here at Insurance Agency Marketing so that it is the best it possibly can be for you and for your business. We will also bring in reps from a few different carriers at times. One thing that we ask when we bring in a representative from a carrier is that they don't just show up and have product ideas or this is how their products work. We want them to bring you marketing and how this product fits and the solutions that it can help bring to you and to your business. So very, very sales and marketing oriented, not trying to be overly product oriented. Now, what I find to be the most valuable out of any of our academies is our sales coaches come in, at least 4 of them from throughout the country. And in order to be a sales coach with Insurance Agency Marketing Services, you not only have to talk the talk, but you have to be able to walk the walk as well. So all of our sales coaches are multiple time top producer qualifiers. They are, the top 1% of our industry, and these individuals are going to show you exactly what they do in their daily practice that makes them so successful and give you the ability to take that information home and apply it into your daily practice. With that being said, we do have that polling question up there. If you click yes that you are interested in our Life and Annuity Academy, what will happen is you'll get an email just with some overview. It's not a commitment on your end to attend, but that will also put you onto our interested parties list. So you will be the first individuals contacted once we have the dates. Now, I'm going to close that poll down here in just a little bit. So if you haven't taken the time to click yes or no if you would participate, we certainly appreciate that. And I'd be amiss if I didn't open it up to Mac here for just a second. Mac has been a part of several academies with us, as has Athene. So Mac, any feedback, any overview, anything you'd like to say about a Life and Annuity Academy?
Yeah, thanks, Scott. Appreciate the opportunity on that front. Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, I mean, look, we love getting and inviting producers, new producers, existing producers into our home office to kind of tell our story. You know, it's an amazing opportunity for you all to really get behind the scenes at Athene, talk to the executives, you know, and I'm talking, you know, chief level executives, the president of the company, senior VPs, learn how we operate. But I think, you know, Scott, you hit on this. More importantly than that, from your perspective, is the ability to talk to one another. You know, I've been in this business in a sales capacity for almost 20 years, and as a wholesaler, almost 15. And I've been all over the country and met all different agents that work a lot of different ways, and there's a lot of different ways to succeed. And I think it's exciting to share those stories with one another. It's amazing what you can learn from your peers, particularly those that have demonstrated success in the business. So if you have not attended one of the Iams academies, I strongly recommend that you look into doing so. And I suspect there'll be a lot more coming here next year. So thanks, Scott.
Hey, thank you, Mac, and we always appreciate your feedback there and your participation in our academies. So with that being said, we're going to close that slide down and move on. Thank you, everyone who did participate there. I mentioned Matt Neal previously. Iams, he is the head of Iams Creative. He's our creative director. We do have an in-house creative team, and we can help you with your brand recognition. We can help you with prospecting. We can help you with general marketing, and we can do it very, very inexpensively, just to be blunt about it. Matt, you won't give up any quality on what you are looking for and what we are producing for you. Matt and his team are incredibly talented and incredibly diligent at what they do. If you'd like to learn more about Iams Creative and how we can help you grow your brand and grow your presence in your natural market, please don't hesitate to give Matt Neal a call. He is here in office every day. So 800-255-5055 and just ask for Matt Neal. New producer bonus for those of you who are new to insurance agency marketing services, or if this is your first introduction to us, you will be eligible for the new producer bonus. This is based on production within your first 180 days of being licensed with Iams, and you can cash in at any one of these three levels. And as you can see, there's great options at every level for you: business building tools, personal perks, a lot of cash rewards, a lot of great things there. So if you'd like to learn more about how to qualify for new producer bonus, or if you'd like to know where you stand on your new producer bonus, please let me know. Love to have that conversation with you. Continuing to talk about how we can put more money into your pocket beyond new producer bonus is Easy Money Now. On the right-hand side, you'll see marketing reimbursement. This is a very, very lucrative program and what we consider to be the most lucrative in the industry for its type of this type of program. Rough numbers on marketing reimbursement are for every $100,000 that you place in fixed indexed annuity business with Iams, we're going to put $200 into your marketing reimbursement account. Now, what makes our marketing reimbursement program so lucrative is we put very, very few restrictions on it. We consider this to be your money. So what I mean by few restrictions are we're not going to cap your account. You can grow it as large as you'd like to. We also are not going to put a timetable on when you must use it. We're not going to make you cash it out annually or, every quarter, anything like that. So it can be as large as you'd like it to be, and it can grow as long as you'd like it to grow. It's there for you to use when you need it. Also, we put very, very few restrictions on vendors. If you have a vendor that you have used in the past or that you are comfortable with, we certainly want you to continue that relationship. We're not going to tell you no. As long as it's an actual business building or marketing expense, we will reimburse you for that. If you'd like to know more details on marketing reimbursement or how much you have in your account right now, please let me know. We can get that calculated, and those are conversations I'd love to have. On the left-hand side of your screen, you're going to see our Referred Producer Program. We call it RPM, or Referred Producer Money. Our business here on the wholesale side is really, really similar to yours in the field, in that one of the best leads we're ever going to get is a referral from one of our valued clients or you, our valued producer. So we want to make it worth your while to refer individuals to us. When you refer a producer over to us and they choose to pick up a license with Iams, we're going to send you $50 just as a thank you for them licensing. Where the real money comes in is as your referral writes business, you're going to get a 20 basis point override on that business. It doesn't come out of their end. It solely comes out of Iams' pocket. We're paying you as a thank you for that referral. So it's not going to affect your referrals commission whatsoever. Also, you are not going to be considered the hierarchy for them. So you do not take liability of that producer, which is also a very, very nice thing for you. With that being said, Steve and Charles sign checks for the Referred Producer Program at least quarterly, and I can tell you they sign checks for thousands and thousands of dollars, and they're actually pretty happy to sign those checks. So if you have a referral that you think could benefit from working with us here at Iams, please feel free to type their name and any contact information you have on them into the questions box. I'll do the best I can to get them recruited over to Iams and hopefully get you on your way to earning some RPM dollars. Oh, and Mac, that actually brings me to the end of my slides. I thought I had one more. So if you are ready, I am going to give you control of the presentation.
Great. Thanks, Scott. Appreciate that.
Should be on its way to you right now.
Okay, terrific. Thanks again, Scott. If you would, as always, verify for me if you can see the slide and hear me okay?
I can see the slide and we can hear you great.
Great. Thanks again, Scott, and thanks everyone for joining us today. We'll take about the next, call it 20 minutes or so, and go through just, I was going to say a hidden gem. It isn't really hidden anymore. I think a lot of folks have been selling it, or if they haven't, at least have heard about the product that we'll be talking about. As you look at the landscape of indexed annuities, or really annuities in general, most sales involve some kind of an income rider these days, and I think in large part that makes sense. I mean, rates in the interest rate marketplace have been very low for quite some time. They have stabilized a little, although rates that stabilize around the 1.718 mark are not exactly exciting to talk about. So as a result, we're seeing a lot of income rider sales, and again, that makes sense. A lot of customers are looking for flexible income options. At Athene, though, we believe that it makes sense to have a complete portfolio of fixed annuities. So we'll have very competitive income solutions as part of our Ascent series of fixed indexed annuity. We've got great short-term fixed annuity options in our multi-year guarantee chassis. Where we're going to focus today, however, is on our indexed annuity that is fantastic for just simply accumulating money for customers. And the way it does it, I believe, is one of the most competitive packages available today. And we'll kind of get into why I believe that in a moment. I'm also going to share with you a very underutilized sales tool that helps, I think, educate consumers or prospects, and then frankly keep them once you've sold a policy. And I'll share that tool with you in a moment. So the name of the product line is Performance Elite Series of Indexed Annuities. And I mentioned before, the way this is designed, very client-friendly. I believe there's not a better combination of premium bonus, crediting rates, and liquidity available in the marketplace today. We've got premium bonuses up to 12%, depending on what state you sell in, and of course, if you're able to sell longer-term products. Very competitive crediting rates despite the historically low interest rate environment we continue to be in. And then again, industry-leading liquidity features, including a return of premium guarantee, which I believe is the kind of sleep-at-night feature that the customers are looking for when they look to accumulate funds for retirement. So we'll get right into it with the premium bonus. And what you're looking at here, there's essentially two versions of the product. Performance Elite, what we call the base version on the left there, and then the Performance Elite Plus. I'll tell you right now, roughly 90% of the sales we get goes into the Plus version of the product. The reason that is higher bonus, better liquidity, just to name a few. With that said, though, if you know you have a prospect or a client that prefers accumulation over nothing else, so in other words, liquidity isn't as important, premium bonus isn't as important, the Performance Elite base product, even with the lower bonus, will accumulate money better than almost anything out there in the marketplace today. The reason it does better than the Performance Elite Plus is because there's no fee associated with that liquidity rider. So you can see that there's two versions, again, the base version and the Plus version, and there's a 10-year and a 15-year version as well. You see a Select and a Pro version. Those are for those particular states, and if you're in one, you know who you are. States like PA, Jersey, Florida, that require their own version of annuities in terms of design. So we have products there as well. The base version on the 10-year has a 4% premium bonus. The 15-year is 7%. By selling the Plus version, however, you're increasing both bonuses by 5%. So we've got a 9% premium bonus on a 10-year chassis. We've got a 12% premium bonus on a 15-year chassis. Both of those premium bonuses, by the way, represent among the highest in the industry available on a 10 and a 15-year product. And just to think, and I don't want to talk a ton about suitability, but it's important. You know, suitability is an ever-changing target, as we all know, for better or worse. I think it will be for better for everybody down the road, of course. But it's difficult to transfer one annuity into another when there are surrender charges involved at that other annuity. At Athene, we prefer that you are replacing any charges the client incurs during the exchange by having a premium bonus to recoup that. And when we're talking a premium bonus of 9 or up to 12%, in many instances, that is more than enough to cover any existing charges that might be there. So keep that in mind as you're looking to potentially replace annuities that just aren't doing it for customers these days. So that's the premium bonus. The next thing I discussed at the beginning was crediting rates. And again, interest rates are very low still. No insurance company is immune to the interest rate market where we are today. Again, all that said, we believe we've got some bright spots here. I've highlighted a couple in red. But as you look here, we've got different options available to you. We've got traditional options like a 1-year point-to-point, a 1-year month-to-cap, and we've got several different uncapped options available in both 1-year and 2-year point-to-point designs. The two newest are the BNP Paribas and the Morningstar index. Those are both 2-year point-to-point uncapped indices, and you can see that the participation rates, now there's no spread on those right now. The 10-year on the BNP side has an 80% participation rate. On the 15-year, it's 110%. Said another way, whatever that index does on the 15-year, your client gets more than 100% of it, 110%. So a really strong opportunity to, I think, capture some great accumulation for clients on top of the premium bonus we just discussed. So I do want to get a little more in depth in some of these strategies, only because they're new to us, new to the industry, and I think very compelling and competitive. So we're going to focus a little bit more on the BNP first, and then the Morningstar. You know, at Athene, when we look to add a strategy, or partner with an investment bank like Morningstar or BNP to help us develop a strategy, we look at a couple different things. We look at, number one, is the name reputable? Number two, does it complement what we already have? And number three, what kind of value will it provide to the customer? Not on the illustration, but what will it do for that customer moving forward? And when it comes to name brand, I think we've checked that box. BNP, not a household name quite yet in the United States, although if you're a tennis fan and are familiar with the French Open, they're the organization that sponsors the French Open each and every year. They are the third largest bank worldwide by assets. They've got a presence in 75 countries, including the United States and Europe. Morningstar, if you spent any time at all in the registered space, that name will jump right off the page to you. Leading provider of independent investment research and have been for the better part of the last 20 years or so. They evaluate over 500,000 investment offerings each and every day, and they're recognized for thought leadership in investment marketing as well. So we're very happy to partner with both of those investment banks. So again, name brand recognition is key to important to us, important to clients and you, and I think we've checked that box there. In terms of bringing complementary designs, the BNP just brings a ton of diversity to the table for us. If you look at the menu of indexed options that we have across our whole portfolio, and frankly, most of the industry, the overwhelming majority of index designs still use the S&P 500 to drive the growth. Not that there's anything wrong with that. The S&P 500 is one of the most visible and largest indices in the world, so it makes sense. Easily trackable, easily published. It makes a ton of sense to have that brand name attached to a strategy. Now, all that said, as great as the S&P 500 can be, there just is not a lot of diversity there. So the BNP focuses on three different asset classes: equities, bonds, and commodities, and then three different economies across the globe as well: the United States, Europe, and Japan. And it essentially rebalances on a daily basis to choose the allocation that would have performed best for that customer. Now, this isn't the first strategy to invent or to use rebalancing in its method to determine growth for clients. It's one of the few, though, that does so every day. Many strategies will use a monthly or even a quarterly rebalancing, and there's no secret. The more you rebalance, the smoother the ride, the better opportunity for growth, particularly when you couple that with the diversity that this brings to the table. So it essentially takes a look at all different universes in those different allocations and asset classes and economies we discussed, brings them through a volatility filter, and then again chooses the best performing allocation for the customer on that day, and it does it every single day. So just a quick look at how this would have fared up against the S&P 500. You can see the BNP is the lighter shaded line, the S&P is the darker of the two lines. The starting place, the finishing place are essentially the same, but clearly the ride to get there was a heck of a lot different. Having, again, a lot of diversity, a lot of different asset classes, economies, and the ability to move each day allows the BNP to be smoother for the customer and the insurance company, which allows us, frankly, to give it to the client with better rates. Now, before I get into the Morningstar, I do want to shift out of the slides just for a moment. You'll see at the bottom of that slide, there's a website and also a ticker symbol. This indicates that this is a publicly traded index, and we have set this website up. It's client approved. One of the best, I believe, indexed websites available in the marketplace today. You know, Scott mentioned at the beginning that we're a big fan of transparency. A lot of these proprietary strategies that exist today, it's tough to figure out what the returns are. They're not published, so the client buys it, and then for 2 years they're locked into this thing and they have no idea how they're doing. So what we did is we developed a website with BNP, and again, I'm going to step out of here and go into the website just to kind of give you an idea of what is available. This is all client approved. Hopefully you can see this now as well. We've got information about the index itself. You've got videos, again, client approved as well, help explain how the index works. And I think probably most importantly, this green box here, the index performance. I'm going to click on that for a moment. And what you see here are performance tables. We've got 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 3, 5, and 10. against the S&P 500. We've got year-to-date as well. And you can see the S&P year-to-date is roughly 4.7. This is about 5.9. Now remember, the Performance Elite 15 has 110% participation. So take that number and multiply it by 110, and that's the return. So it gives the client an opportunity to see how this thing is done over time, but also how it's done versus the S&P 500. And again, I think it's a slam dunk. And not only do we have it year-to-date, if you look at the performance chart, I'll click on that in a moment here as well. Actually, that's not, I'm sorry, the index returns, not my mistake. We actually do it by month. So you can see every month in 2016 what this index has done. So now, you got to recognize, of course, that when you buy one of these things, or rather you sell one to a client, that we're going to have different issue dates. Not everyone's going to have this issued on the first of every month. But what it does, though, is give the client a good gauge as to how this thing is performing. They don't have to wait 2 years to figure out what's going on. So I think that's very powerful. And again, that's a public site available to everybody, including your prospects and clients. So with that, I'm going to jump back into the slides, and we'll shift to the Morningstar. And then we'll talk about the liquidity provisions in the product as well. So Morningstar, again, we talked about the name brand there. In terms of diversity, this brings, it's a little different. It doesn't focus on a ton of different asset classes, but what it does do is focus on only the highest, really, dividend yielding equities in the marketplace today. Targets large, mid, and small cap segments, U.S. markets only. And essentially, it surveys the scene in the Morningstar universe, and it selects the top 75 companies with the highest indicated dividend yield at a given time. It brings that through a volatility control of 5%, and again, that's what ends up getting returned to the customer. Now, again, I'll show you the same similar type of infographic here as I did in the BNP, where in this example, the S&P is the light blue line, the Morningstar is the red line. You can see there's a little bit more volatility in the Morningstar because we're just dealing with dividend equities, not quite the diversity that BNP brings to the table. But there's no secret, if you were to isolate dividend yielding equities versus non-dividend yielding equities, dividend yielding equities typically do much better over time. So that's why we chose that as well. This is a true dividend type strategy for clients. So how does this translate to the current rates that I just talked about? We'll focus on the 10-year, then the 15-year here. You can see the two new strategies, again, 2-year point-to-point design. The BNP at the top there, you've got your hypothetical index comparisons here. This shows an 80% participation rate that we've got. The lowest it did, we chose the 10 lowest years in the last 20, and we still did over 4%. Just happens to be the most recent as well, believe it or not. The highest was 5.1. You can see on the 15-year, the lowest this thing did was 5.7 with a 110% participation rate, and the highest it did was almost 7%. So if the worst case scenario is 4.1 or 2 on the 10-year or 5.7 on the 15, that's still pretty darn good. I think you're going to be under-promising and likely over-delivering with this all day long. So we've talked about premium bonus. We've discussed the strategies and our two new ones as well and how powerful they are. Now, to me, this is where the sale is really made in terms of closing it. It's all about liquidity. You know, one of the pricing mechanisms that insurance companies utilize to potentially increase rates is liquidity. You know, if we dial back liquidity, you can typically dial up a rate. The problem is you got to dial back liquidity. So just to give you a comparison here, the base version of the product, as I mentioned before, it's not as liquid. You can take R&Ds available day one free of charge, but traditional liquidity is 5% available at the end of the first year and available there for the duration. Both confinement and terminal illness waivers are there as well. And you're fully liquid if that situation occurs. Purchasing the Performance Elite Plus, which includes the liquidity rider, the bigger bonus, 95 basis points for that larger bonus and the additional liquidity. The liquidity, I think, is industry leading though. It's 10% available day one, plus 20% in any year you do not take a prior withdrawal, you get 20% that next year. And then to me, the real clincher is the ability to get the client's money back, return premium guaranteed any moment after the fourth contract year. I think customers, I think retirees, they like the ability to have an off-ramp when they are planning for their retirement, and the ability to get their money back if things don't work out for some reason, I think is a great thing. I would be shocked if people utilize that feature, because I do think this will perform, but it's nice to know they've got that option if things don't work out, or if life gets in the way, if their plans change. And the great thing, too, from your perspective, is there is no chargeback when they exercise that return of premium situation. Now, I mentioned the fee. The fee, again, is 95 basis points during the surrender charge period only. And, again, that essentially pays for that premium bonus and, again, the extra liquidity. People are used to paying fees, I think, for everything that they encounter. This isn't an income rider fee. This is a liquidity rider with a heck of a premium bonus as well. Can't be terminated once it's been elected, but it only is there during the surrender charge period. Just to quickly illustrate that rollover 20% liquidity feature one more time for you, let's take a look at, hypothetically, at the first 4 years of the contract. If in year one, client doesn't take anything out of the contract, the next year they get 20. If in year three, they take 5, it does not mean they get 15 in year 4. Because they did elect to take a withdrawal in year 3, it goes down to 10 in year 4. So again, just the way that works is if you take no withdrawals in a given year, the next year is when you get the full 20. So just to very quickly compare the two on a chart, and again, you can see here, premium bonus, Performance Elite Plus has the enhanced bonus, the additional liquidity, the return of premium benefit. You can see the difference in the base version there as well. Again, notice we have not talked about income. This is not your income play. This is your longer-term accumulation play, premium bonus play, liquidity play. But I believe, again, it does it better than anything else. I mean, if you look at the marketplace, chances are there are annuities that exist that have high premium bonuses. It's very likely, though, that to pay for those high premium bonuses, they've got low rates. This is typically what you see, or bad liquidity. You may have products out there that have great rates, but usually to make that happen, you have a very low or a non-existent premium bonus. And then again, sometimes there's products that exist that have great liquidity features, but typically there's rates aren't great, or there's no premium bonus. This really gives you the best of all three worlds: great premium bonus, market-leading credited rates, and then again, I think some of the best liquidity features available on an indexed annuity in the market today as well. Just very quickly, we'll end on this slide, Scott, and I'll turn it back over for you to address any questions. Here you can see the issue ages up top: 10 years to age 78, 15 years to 73. This is a single premium design. Minimum is $25,000. You see $1 million there as a max. We will take more than that. We just ask that you have a jumbo case questionnaire completed, and anything over $1 million, and we will approve that. You can see also near the bottom the surrender charges. If you have broker-dealer situations to consider, this might not be the product for you. We have other shorter-term products that will work. 10-year follows a 12-10 design, and you can see the 15-year charge there as well, how that looks. So, Scott, with that, I'll have you take control. We've made some pretty decent time here. I've got plenty of time for questions, and happy to do it.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Mac. I've got control back now. We did have some questions come in, and we will get to those. But as we go through the questions, I'm going to launch our last poll of the day and just ask you if you'd like to receive contracting and product information from Athene. If you click yes, I'll get an email out to you here this week that'll have performance lead information as well as Athene licensing. One question that I will head off just right from the start, had a couple of questions come in about the commission, and I'm just general commission on this. There are some state variations. The 10-year product will pay 7%. The 15-year product will pay 7.5%. And I'm sure that Mac can echo me on this. There are also 2 trail options available. And if you are a trail person, which I would strongly advise that you are, or if you haven't taken trails, you certainly should. Take a look at transitioning your business in that fashion. Athene's trail options on the Performance Elite are very, very strong. Anything you'd like to add to that, Mac?
Yeah, no, I'm glad you brought that up. I think it's a great thing to look at. There are a couple things. There's this is a true asset-based trail. So, we've been talking the entire time about accumulating money. So if you've got customers that are looking to just earn money and park their asset there and have it grow, then your trails grow, right? Because, they give you $100,000, you earn a comp on that, and then you get a trail thereafter every year. Well, as that asset grows, assuming they don't touch it, your trail will grow as well. So I think it's a great way to build that nest egg for you. A couple of producers that I know you've worked with, Scott, and I've worked with as well, it's tough. It's not always easy to make the leap from taking the upfront to the trail option. A lot of folks, what they'll do to kind of build into it, if you will, or grow into it, is if you've got a client with $100,000, sell two. Sell one for 50 to take the heat, and sell the other 50 to take the trail, and just be upfront about it. You just let them know that that's how you manage your revenue. There's no extra fee on that, really. It doesn't cost you extra to have two contracts. The fee's the fee on the liquidity rider, but it gives you the opportunity to get some upfront, help you pay the bills, and also develop a good trail. So there's not a lot of great trails that exist today. I suspect we'll see more in the coming months, but the Performance Elite today has got a great trail. So take a look at it.
It definitely does, and I'm going to piggyback on what Mac said, and that's going to lead us right into a question that I'm sure Mac is prepared to answer. One thing that makes Athene really unique with the way they manage their business is this is not a banded product. The minimum premium on it is $25,000, but Mac's example of writing two $50,000 cases, that's not going to hurt your client. And also, Athene is receptive to accepting that type of business. They're not going to force you to put everything into one contract. So a lot of things that can be done there from a case design standpoint that we'd love to help you with. Another thing to think about is if you are writing that the plus version of the product, that just gives the client an extra layer of safety. Let's say they need to exercise that return of premium for some reason after the fourth contract year. Maybe they would only have to exercise it on 50,000 instead of all 100, and they can keep growing their money there. So definitely keep that in mind, and a thank you to Athene for choosing to be that flexible with this type of product. Really easy case design. Mac, you did mention that you believe you'll see more trail options coming in the future. That leads us right into our next question or questions. Several of them have come in. Any commentary you'd like to provide on the Department of Labor situation?
Sure, Scott. Well, first and foremost, we're supporting all the current litigation that's out there. We've not heard anything yet. I keep hearing each week that goes by, this is the week we're going to hear, this is the week we're going to hear, but, true to form, the judicial system likes to drag their feet sometimes, so I have not heard on either the NAFTA or the MSG lawsuit as of yet. We are, we're hopeful, but we're planning for any eventuality. So, what does that mean? First, we mentioned trail commissions. We don't fundamentally believe that upfront commissions are going away. Really, could they come down slightly? It's possible, but that's number one. The consultants we're working with, we think upfront commissions are still going to be available. Disclosure will be a part of it for sure. So, what's your comfort level there with the customers? I know I talked to some producers who are very upfront about it. There's really nothing to hide there. At the end of the day, it's payable from us to you, not out of the client's money. We are open to signing the BIC for those that need us to do that. So that's one thing that we will tell you. There are certain companies that have come out and are very public and say we're not going to do it. We are open to signing it. More to come on that. I think you'll hear from us in the next 30 to 40 days or so as we get closer to year end. We're also looking at fixed annuity product with income riders, and again, that's tough to price right now, frankly, with rates as low as they are, but that's something we are looking at for next year potentially. So more to come on that as well as we get into next year. So we're preparing for anything. We're hoping for the best, and from your perspective, I would suggest you all do the same. Let's hope that things work out in the court system, but if they do not, just make sure you're aligning yourself with an IMO like Iams, who is preparing their business to be relevant post-DOL, because I can tell you we certainly will be. Athene has got tremendous growth plans, and DOL or not, we will be a large player in this business over the long term. So, Scott, I know there's not a ton of specific info there, but the reality is we're kind of waiting to see what the court decides, and then kind of really ramp up from there. So hopefully that helps at least a little bit.
Hey, that does. I appreciate the commentary. I'm sure the group does as well. So thank you for that. To piggyback before we move on to a couple more questions, Iams has been very happy to have Athene as a partner. When they say they're open to signing the BIC, that's a lot more aggressive than a lot of companies have been. Athene is there to support their producers. They want to support their producers. What signing the BIC is going to look like, we don't know yet. Athene doesn't know yet, but at least they haven't ruled it out. So that's a very positive sign. And for all of our attendees on here throughout the country, if you haven't taken the time to sit down and build a contingency plan for the Department of Labor and your ability to work with qualified dollars, I'd highly encourage you to give us a call. Let's have that conversation. Here at Iams, we do have several scenarios in play for how we will work with qualified funds and help our producers to work with qualified funds. And if your current upline or your IMO isn't helping you to prepare your business, I just bluntly, I tell you, you need to give us a call. You need to give us an opportunity, because we want to help you not only continue on your business, but grow your business should the Department of Labor ruling stay in effect as it is. That being said, we'll move on from the Department of Labor topic. Good question here, Mac. How does the bonus get credited to the account, and how would withdrawals affect the bonus percentage?
Yeah, good question. So it is a vested bonus, so it slowly vests during the surrender charge period. It is credited day one, though, so that's important. So, when you've got $100,000 coming in, you're getting a 12% bonus on the 15-year product, for example. That $12,000 goes to work and starts earning value for the client immediately based on the index that they choose. Now, the second part of that question is, how do withdrawals, how does that affect it? As long as you're staying within the free withdrawal limits of the contract, we're not going to basically, you're not going to get hit with a vested bonus adjustment, if you will. So that's the big thing. And as we discussed, because there's a ton of liquidity in the product, it'll be hard to lose the bonus based on withdrawal. Which again, why I think, Scott, the point you made a minute ago is a great one. If you think there could be some liquidity concerns above and beyond what we just talked about, which I find highly unlikely, because this is among the most liquid annuities out there. But if that happens, sell more than one, so that you can, if you need to, you can liquidate one and still have the other working for the client. So again, just to recap, bonus goes to work day one. It is vested, however, during the surrender charge period slowly. And again, as long as you're in that free withdrawal amount, the bonus should stay intact. Does that help answer that, Scott?
That answers that perfectly, sir. Thank you. Good question here as well, and one that there's a very good answer for. If a client chooses to exercise the return of premium in the, after once it's available to them, is there a chargeback to the producer?
There is not. There is not. Yeah. So chargeback typically with us, it's pretty, I don't want to say it's universal across the industry, but it's, I'll tell you what our policy is. It's, if there's a full surrender during the first 6 months, it's 100%. During the second 6 months, it's 50. This, because the provision for return of premium is not available until after year 4, we're beyond that. So there is no chargeback to you at all.
That is a great answer. A couple of questions here, and if there are any more questions, please type them in, but a couple that I will handle. Gentleman asked about approval in Florida. I believe it's the Pro that is approved in Florida. We can certainly get you product-specific details on the Pro. Also, someone that would like a copy or a link to the BNP index site, if you click yes in the polling question, we will certainly get that out to you. I don't have a link that I can readily send out from the computer I'm at right now, but we click yes for the further information. We'll get that link out to you. And Mac, that brings us to the end of our questions. So before we let everybody go, I want to thank you, Mac, from Iams' standpoint and from the group standpoint for your time. I know it's a very, very busy time around Athene right now, and we really appreciate you taking some time for us. Any parting words you have for the group?
Yeah, thank you, Scott. Appreciate the partnership, and again, thanks to everyone that joined us this morning. Hopefully, we've given you some alternatives to the income rider sale. There's a lot of, despite how low interest rates have been and continue to be, there's still some very valuable accumulation opportunities for clients that are looking for those options. So hopefully we've given you something new to think about, certainly with the BNP strategy and the great website. Definitely take a look at that. Let your clients take a look at that, your prospects. It really helps, I think, get them comfortable with the concept of indexing. So thanks again, Scott, and have a great day.
Hey, thank you, Mac, and thank you to everyone who joined us. As we're signing off, I'm going to close down that poll, so if you haven't taken the time to just click yes or no on that, if you would do so, we'd certainly appreciate it. I know 45, 50 minutes out of your day is a lot to ask, so we really do appreciate you joining us and letting us show you what one of our most valued partners in Athene has to offer. So we do thank you all very, very much. Go out and have a great sales day, everyone, and I look forward to speaking with you all very, very soon.